my mother actually lied about me being Jewish and sent me to a JCC when I was 3 or 4. She's sitting right over there. Yeah, give it up for my mom for being the most creative and non-rule follower I know. Because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have accomplished a lot of the things I have in my life. So I was 3 or 4, and she had just gotten a divorce. She was married to an artist for 20 years who was my father. And I think she was looking for community, and she she really just wanted her little girl to, I guess, have one, right? So there's a lot of asides in this story, and I'm going to get into one right now. Essentially, my mother went to this hairdresser. She went to an Iranian hairdresser who I love to this day. Her name is Naji. And Naji had all these other Iranian hairdressers in her shop. And she would code switch at the time. And I didn't know what that was. I was 4. So, but I loved doing characters. Before I came to Portland, I studied the Groundlings for a while. I have a lot of wigs. And so I loved characters, and she would just be doing hair, and she would just be like, Tessie, go next door, go to the 7-Eleven, get Slurpee. And then she would scream at her kids in Farsi, and she had like baklava and all this amazing Iranian cuisine, and I would just be staring at her while she talked like 3 languages. And so Naji knew that my mother had just gotten divorced, and she told her to go and get her tea leaves read by a psychic, by this Iranian psychic. So my mom goes, and I remember this vividly. We went to this complex because at the time my mother was a single mother. I had 2 older brothers, but they were much older than me. They were 12 and 17 years older than me. So we went to this Iranian woman's house, and it was this little apartment. And she basically was like, tell your daughter to leave because we are having a psychic session and I cannot have any distraction. And I was like, where am I gonna go? My mom was like, didn't you hear her? She said that I need privacy, this is my moment. And let me preface this with my mother was married to my father, who was kind of a narcissist. But I mean, it's a spectrum, right? So he's not like Dorian Gray, but he is kind of like, if you want to come up to the studio, you need to let me know when, because I'm on a timeline. I got a piece to deliver, and I don't really have time for bullshit, Tess? So he does want to spend time with you on his schedule. So my mother was like, this is my time, this is my moment. I am being read to by these psychics, and I will believe in myself. And I was like, okay, great. So I remember playing in the yard, at this women's complex, and it was wonderful, and we left, and I said, so Mom, we're driving home in her Alfa Romeo that her Israeli boyfriend at the time convinced her to buy because she was like, I have a lead foot and I'm proud of it. At the time, I knew that an Alfa Romeo was the fastest 4-door car of '94, and it cost $24,000. So I really told that to all my friends, like the obnoxious white girl I was, of a single mom. And she ran her own business, by the way. So that was also what I was really proud of. And so this Iranian psychic told her that she was going to marry a Jewish doctor. So my mom thought, well, let's just get this party fucking started. There's a JCC right over there. Tess, you're Jewish, okay? Arukata Baddanahenu and Amukaduka. And this is a dreidel. Here you go. Why don't you just take this and talk about it? Talk about b'mitzvahs and litzvahs and a mikvah, which is actually a cleansing bath that women go to before they have sex. I was actually really good friends with a lot of very Orthodox Jews in New York. I was always fascinated by a girl with a wig, Anyway, So back to the JCC. So at this time, I was really thriving there because I could not believe the celebrations. Like, what? And my brothers were much older than me, so I was kind of like forgotten about a little bit as far as like a birthday and stuff when I was really young. So there was a birthday. They told, my mom told them that, oh, well, it's Tessa's birthday. This is her birthday day. And I remember I wore this pink outfit, had a pink hat, and a pink shirt and a pink skirt, and my mom made this beautiful cake, and they put me on a chair, and the teachers came over and they were lifting me above their heads, singing Hava Nagila Hava Nagila Hava, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing! I mean, being the baby, I couldn't have of the family. I was like, I'm legit like famous right now. It was like the greatest fucking moment of my life. I was the center of attention. It really was like a wake up for me. I was like, oh, I think I need to go on stage. And so then a couple weeks later, my mom, she was crying in her Alfa Romeo, and the fastest four-wheel car of '94, and she picked me up from the JCC, and I was like, Mama, what's wrong? And she said, well, honey, I fucked up. And I was like, oh, okay, that's an adult word. We've discussed that before. And she said, you can't go to this school anymore. And I was like, but they do birthday songs, and they put me on a chair. Why? And she said, because I'm not Jewish. And I was like, so turn into a Jewish. I didn't understand. And I'm 42, guys. So this is before, the Judaism community was super inclusive and was like, you can convert. We want you. They were like, you fucking lied. Get the hell out of our house. So they didn't ask her to convert. They were like, you're a liar. So that sucked. And I was bummed, but my mom was really bummed because that meant that the Jewish doctor plan that the psychic had told her was going to happen was fucked, like triple fucked. Because we lived in a small community, and she was like, if I run into any of these people, they'll know that I'm a liar. So we have to find another Jewish community. So good news, because she was such a successful businesswoman, she had a friend named Lynn Hirschfeld. And I don't know if you know anything about Jewish last names, but Hirschfeld is very Jewish. So, my mom designed her house. And my mom is a garden designer, she still is. And she had designed Lynn's 3-floor house. It had an elevator in it. My mom said, of course she was a single mom, so she I didn't think she had a babysitter, or maybe she just ran out of time to find one. And so she said, Tess, we're going to the Hirschfelds tonight. There's a cocktail party. And I was like, oh, great. Is that the rich lady who has Beckel Jackson on video? Because Lynn Hirschfeld, my mom and her would party. They would like smoke pot. I didn't know this at the time. They would smoke pot, and I think Lynn was fucking her pool boy because her husband David was like just not emotionally available. And she had this really cool black bottom pool, and she was like, Tess, you can go out there and swim naked for all I care. And she had hairless cats, like she was a real freak, you know? And I fucking love Lynn Hirschfeld. To this day, I love that bitch. And so I'm like, yes, I get to go in the biggest king bed I've ever been in and watch Thriller on repeat. Well, meanwhile, my mom is upstairs at this black tie cocktail party, and if you've met one Jewish doctor, you've met them all. There was a lot of Jewish doctors at this point. And my mom was Lynn begged my mom to go. She said, I don't want to go. It seems like I'm trying to make this work. I'm not willing this to happen. And so she said, just come. And so my mom's there, and she's drinking, you know, and she sees this very handsome man who is across the room, and she goes up to Lynn. You know, I think they snuck outside in the pool house to smoke a J, and she was like, all cotton mouth, like, Lynn, who is that man? And she said, oh, that's Dr. Barry Slater. He's really unhappy in his marriage. And my mom said, I hate to, just like, segregate, but is he Jewish? And Lynn said, yes, he's very Jewish, but he's not practicing, but he grew up kosher. He's from the Bronx. And my mom's like, okay. And so they go and they're like flirting and they're talking, right? And the whole night, Lynn is, right in the corner with my mom. She's playing wing woman, she's wing woman. I'm passed out with like hot tamales, liver pate, and fucking Thriller, probably discovering my masturbatory fantasies at the age of 5 now. I think I was 5. And so she's over there and she's talking to what his name is Barry Slater. And they make out, I think, and Barry says, I have a wife, but I'm very unhappy in my marriage. And my mom said, well, I just got divorced. I have a 5-year-old little girl, and I think she's special needs. But I know that you as a doctor could probably help her, but I'm not interested. I'm not interested because I am not going to sleep with a married man. I am better than that. And so he said, okay, here's my snail mail address, because back then there was nothing. Internet came when I was 12, okay? So she gave her address, and then they wrote to each other for a year. And they didn't go on any dates. And then he called her and he said, hi, it's Dr. Slater. I am living in an apartment in Sunnyvale. I just left my wife. I'm by myself. I'd like to know if you'd like to go out for a date with me. And they are sitting right over there. That's the Barry Slater and my mother. And they've been together for 35 years. And you can find me at Fork and Laugh on Instagram. Thanks, guys.
Yes, Middlebrook! Well done. And a big round of applause to the happy couple.